You don't ever expect to be hauled out of your house, put on a train, and marched into a gas chamber and be choked to death. There is something in all of us that, no matter how terrible it is, that we want to live another day.
Irene Fogel-Weiss is about to speak to an auditorium filled with students at Woodson High School. It's not the first time she's done this. As a former teacher, she has spent a lot of time talking to students. But these days, her lessons for students are quite personal. She's sharing her own story, the story of how she survived the Holocaust.
What made you decide to kind of talk about it in your presentations?
Well, I couldn't talk about it for at least 25 years. I really was sweaty palms and pounding heart. There was no way. You know, you can tell your parents were killed, you can tell your parents died, but you can't tell that you arrived to a place where the reason for being there was to be killed.
They've taught millions of people the person's comatose, labored shallow breathing, turning blue from lack of oxygen, deny rescue breathing, and pound on a beating heart. Zyklon B, which is hydrogen cyanide used in the camps. The treatment for that is rescue breathing and an antidote. Just like any of the hundreds of causes of breathing emergency, it's rescue breathing, no chest compressions. Teachers teach about how the heart and lungs work in public school. Yet they've taught teachers, librarians, and millions of laypersons deny rescue breathing and pound on a beating heart, and they're eagerly following the government's orders. Exact same thing as Nazi Germany. My grade 2 school workbook, Miss Chitterdick's class. They talked about the human body's like a furnace. Without air, the fire dies the human brain. And then in Boy Scouts, we took first aid and got taught rescue breathing for any of the hundreds of causes of breathing emergency. Grade 6, Mr. Harris's class, we spent a whole afternoon talking about how you are dead if you stop breathing. There's the Toronto District School Board website. They taught the teachers to give chest compressions only. I was there. It was a 90-minute training session. Unbelievable. And the teachers didn't say anything. I learned all about how the heart and lungs work back in public school, my grade 2. I remember my grade 2, Mrs. Chitterdick, we talked about human body's like a furnace. Without air, the fire dies the human brain. So this is what they taught the school teachers to do. Eh? Call 911. Yes, even a doctor calls 911 during a medical emergency. Then they say give chest compressions and then antidote. No, because no medication does anything if you're in cardiac arrest. Then it says continue chest compressions. And this recovers the position. That's wrong too. This is all the science they taught the school teachers. And the school teachers couldn't figure out that that person's alive could be any of the hundreds of causes of breathing emergency, needs rescue breathing ASAP. And they also taught the librarians do the same thing. I made a deputation to the library board. Maureen O'Reilly was there. She can't get a response why her members were taught murder. Offices at 20 Eglinton Avenue West. 2 floors above is the Heart and Stroke Foundation, which wrote them a letter back in 2013. Sent me a letter and CC'd it to the people at the top that are behind all this. Dr. Laurie Morrison. Okay. Chest compressions only. is for a layperson who's never been trained for a sudden witness cardiac arrest only, which is a very, very rare occurrence to witness a sudden cardiac arrest. Unbelievable. Last line. Consider the matter closed. Well, it's not closed because they're still teaching millions of people to do it. And they're killing the employees at the Heart and Stroke Foundation if they suffer any of the hundreds it causes a breathing emergency. Sean Hopkins, manager at the works, and Dr. Lori Morrison. She wrote the 2010 AHA and DELCOR guidelines about toxic congestions, and she says it's rescue breathing, an antidote, more rescue breathing. If your heart stops, you need advanced cardiac life support methods. Trauma team, that's right, for any of the hundreds of causes of breathing emergency. Unbelievable, eh? And I watch y'all make yourself sick, denying what they taught you in public school. You gotta breathe once every 5 seconds to stay alive. Most important food group is air, 15,000 liters per day. If you've got a breathing emergency, that's exactly what it is. It's a breathing emergency, nothing wrong with your heart. Read the comment box and then think. Might want to break your silence before you get tortured to death, or your family members wind up permanent brain damage, drooling for the rest of your life, don't even know your name, oxygen deprivation.